Rev up your engines. One of the biggest problems with Lexus is it costs too much money. On top of the new ones have turbo 4s, which I think is terrible for a luxury car. That's why I tell people, one of the best moves you can do is buy a used V6 Lexus. They're such well-made vehicles, make your head spin. 128,000 miles on it, which is nothing for these. And he bought it a few years ago for $7,800. It's an ES350. Now what makes these things pretty much indispensable transportation is under the hood. 3,500cc V6 engine with timing chain. These things can just run forever. Hey, 120-something thousand miles. It doesn't burn any oil. He had to replace one coil pick. Big deal. You take the bolt off, you unplug it, put another one on. It would say misfire cylinder number 3 if it was that. You put another one on. Simple repair. The thing that I love about these are they're smooth V6s, but they don't have all the technology the new ones do. No turbo, no high pressure GDI, gasoline direct injection. These are tried and true vehicles that can basically run forever. I guarantee you that when you find the ones that all have turbo 4s now, when they get to be as old as this thing is, 19 years old, right? Those new ones, they're gonna get problems. They're gonna cost a whole bunch of money. And to top it all off, the turbo 4s, they're not smooth like this. Yeah, they have horsepower, but it's a different type of horsepower. You want a car like this, you want a smooth car. That's the point of getting a luxury car. You want a turbo 4, hey, go get a little sports car or something, right? This is a luxury car. This wasn't meant for a 4-cylinder little buzz machine. That's why I tell people, not only are you saving a fortune buying a used car, in this case, you're actually getting a better car. Now, this car is on the East Coast, it's in Rhode Island, but when Lexus built these, look, they knew how to rust-proof them. Do you see the fenders rusting out? No, they're not rusting out because they made them correctly. Lives in Rhode Island. They use a lot of salt, but these things are so well made, they're not coming apart. Now, someone else, oh, look, there's a piece of rust. No, that's a leaf because we had a storm. As we check the interior, it's leather, and really, for pushing 20 years old, it's a good shape. It's not even ripped or torn. You can re-dye this if you really want to. And yeah, some of the black has come off the steering wheel. You know, that's a coating. You could paint over it if you want. But hey, the wood's still in pretty good shape. Still a beautiful car. This wasn't one that had sticky dashes. Now, if you're looking at a Lexus, first thing you want to do is check this. Some of them, the dashes get sticky and all fall apart. This particular one isn't. You can see a little wear in the armrest. Again, you can re-dye that if you want. But this is a luxury car. And I'll bet everything still works. The AC, the power windows. I'll bet even the CD player works. Okay, does the CD player work?
Yes.
See? If you notice, it doesn't have a tape deck anymore. They got rid of the tape deck, but you know, it's a nearly indestructible automatic transmission that can just go and go and go. He's worried a little bit about a little play, he says. Okay, now I can feel the struts are a little bit worn. They're still original. You get a little bit of wonkiness because the struts themselves also have those stabilizer bolts. And if you want a cheap fix that will often solve that problem, the other one on the other side, it's a bolt on each end. You unbolt and put it on. You can do that yourself. Easy job. The stabilizers eventually wear, and that's exactly what will happen. You might not even care about the struts. If it's really bouncing, yeah, it's put struts in. But the stabilizers have a lot to do with how well it turns and how it feels. I just tell them, hey, put a couple stabilizer bolts. You just bolt on and bolt off. No big deal. You can get these things aftermarket. You can get them anywhere. Most of these Lexus parts are used on many ranges of the car, so there's an enormous aftermarket for them. Now we're going to try out this new Autel. For those who are interested, here it is. It's a professional scan tool. It's about 250, 60 bucks or so. Looks to be pretty good. Let's see how it actually functions. It just plugs in the data port right here. Now we'll see if good things come in small packages in this MD906 Pro. Here we go, diagnostics. We'll do automatic VIN. Now it's an older car, it's almost 19 years old, but still, it has a lot of technology in it, so. They always give you the warning of everything, it's crazy. People get carried away with that stuff. Here we go, it's setting itself up. Okay, read the VIN. Now to me, this looks like a small version of my $7,000 unit. So let's see how it works. Well, we know it's North America, ES350, 2007. Here we go. The first thing I noticed, it's slower than my $7,000 one, but then again, it's like $6,800 cheaper. It's the same company, I'll tell. Do a diagnosis. We'll do an auto scan. Scan that reasonably quickly for an old car. Remember, it's a 19-year-old car. I see there's problem with the tire because the tire pressure monitoring system is also 19 years old, and I'm sure the batteries are worn out in some of the tires. So here we go. Now, tire pressure monitoring, like I said, we'll just see what that is. I can just about guarantee you some of them aren't working. You want to take the tires apart, put new sensors, spend a whole bunch of money. Yeah, initialization is not completed. It's not sending information. At some point in time, somebody put one in and didn't initialize it in the past, but you know. Now, when he bought it, yeah, the TPMS monitoring light was on. There it is right there. And the guy's trying to fix it, but what does he care? He's like me, you get a tire pressure gauge carrier, wait to do the tire pressure. These things have good rims, put good tires on it. Hey, my wife's Lexus, once or twice a year I might add a little air, that's about it. That we don't really care about. We'll go to the airbag. Probably don't care about that either. Seat belts work really good. We'll just see what kind of crazy code the airbag has. Passenger seat airbag active mode indicator. So, there's something wrong with the sensor in here. Again, who really cares? Mainly he's driving around himself anyways, so the ghost passenger doesn't have to worry. Now here's something that might mean something. Engine, it may or may not. We'll see what the engine code is. Random multiple cylinder misfire detector. Now, he replaced the coil, so that would make intermittent misfire. So we're going to reset that. I'm sure we won't have any problem doing that, so we'll erase that. Okay, the main body has a fault. We'll check that out. Lost communication with air conditioner, meter, electronic control, or mirror electrical control unit. The AC works, and I'll try the mirrors here. Well, that one works. Try the other side. That one works too, so who really cares? A lot of the crazy little codes, even a loose wire can cause that. We'll erase that anyways, but we really don't care about that either. Now, the adaptive front lighting system, these things always break down. They have little motors in them. He can see when he turns the lights on, so I guess he can't be driving 180 miles an hour and adapt it while he's cornering, so we don't really care about that either. And the rest of it's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start her up. Starts up fine. We're going to look at all the main information. Live data. It takes a little bit more time, right? But it's giving us all kinds of information. Now, it is running a little bit lean, okay? Long-term fuel train is 9.4% on bank 2. So it's running a little bit lean. Now, it's some of Bernie's 505 CRF cleaner, as old as it is. Something as simple as dirty fuel injectors could cause that problem. So we'll poke a hole and stick it in. Often just dirty injection system will make it run lean because it's kind of clogged up and it can't spray the right amount of gas. Now, he's still got about 400 miles of range. He's got that most of the time he's owned it. This is one thing about older cars. A lot of times they'll run a little bit lean and it's not that much to worry about. I mean, the cleaner can help, right? And if that didn't work, I'd say clean the mass airflow sensor. You can watch my video, make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. That'll clean that stuff up. But you don't want to be too worried about it running somewhat lean because old cars often do it, and this may sound counterintuitive, but I have had fanatic customers that said, no, I want to get as close to zero as possible, neither positive or negative, neither rich or lean, right? And I'd do everything I could do, and I'd get them to zero, right? I show them on the machines at zero. And then like a few months later, they come back and say, I'm getting worse gas mileage now. And I explain, if your car's running a little bit lean, you're actually going to get better gas mileage. And if you make it perfect at zero, a lot of times you're going to lose a little bit of gas mileage. Plus, it's a double-edged sword, which a lot of people don't understand. If I get a car running perfectly, you know what most people do? They drive faster because, oh, it's really going good now, right? So, don't put too much scope and a little bit lean here or there. Rich is worse. If it's going to rich, it's generally there's some kind of a more serious. This thing had been running 9.5% rich. I know, well, something squirrely's going on a Lexus. But I get many of them that'll run between 5 and 10% lean, and they go okay. I mean, my wife's runs about 6% lean. I don't care. I mean, it runs perfectly fine, but this could bring it down some. Let's look at some more data, remember? Blue is good, we don't want red data. And you see the sensor isn't changing much, look. Minus 0.3. The other one minus 0.2. Now it's 0, that one's perfect, so I mean, hey. The catalytic temperature is the correct temperature for the front and the back. Getting a lot of information. The battery's charging fine. Electronic transmission, the data on that's all good. I don't see any bad data there. So let's take it for a spin. Okay, no backup camera. So we gotta look with our eyes. Safer anyway. Sometimes my neighbor flies through this hole with big diesel trucks. So we're better using our eyes anyway. And what do I see first? Okay, it's got 126,815 miles. It's idling like a dream. We're gonna go over the big bump here to keep the water from going in my neighbor's yard and going down the ocean instead. We'll see how that goes. Now, I can see the struts are somewhat worn. They're not outrageous. These are, after all, some of the worst roads in the United States in Rhode Island. Here we go on some bumpy parts, and let's see how it goes. All right? Still rides a lot better than my Matrix does, and that's got new KYB shocks on it, but I can see they're worn. He was saying his mother's got a newer version of this car, and it's a lot tighter, but then again, it's a lot newer, and it's got a lot less miles on it. It's not bad. If you really wanted a better ride, first thing I would do would be change the front struts and the stabilizer bar links, which in his case, I'd say he could just change the stabilizer bar links first, and he might find that it would have a lot tighter steering just from doing that. We go to the intersection, which never seems to stop, especially on a rainy day, so I'll turn the headlights on. Nobody's coming from there. Now they're all coming from the other side, of course. We all know how that goes. So, here we go. Give it some gas. Plenty of pickup. Smooth shifting. Hey, this thing runs pretty much like it did when it came off the factory floor in Japan. And I must stress, this baby was made in Japan. It does have a V6 engine. It's not a twin turbo 4. It has very smooth acceleration. The transmission is a very good automatic transmission that's still in excellent shape. Of course, the wipers still work. There's a leaf stuck on it. So I got a messy part from the leaf stuck on it. Maybe we can get it off. I'd have to pull the car over to get rid of that, so that line is going to stay there until the seat is pulled off of it. Totally smooth. Like I say, there's the tire pressure monitoring because he bought it that way and he doesn't want to spend a bunch of money fixing it. As I showed in my video I made this summer with my son's car, it's not that hard to fix them, but then you got to buy all the sensors and you got to buy a tire machine that costs $1,500 or more, or you just give up and go to a tire store and pay them to install new ones and spend a whole bunch of money that you probably don't want to spend. I certainly don't. Still an excellent vehicle. That's why I said, you want a nice luxury car, forget the new ones. These old ones are better to begin with. And even though this one's pushing 19 years old, it still runs like a top. Doesn't burn oil. You step on the gas. Almost had wheel spit there. The traction control still works. It's rainy and slippery, but 19 years old, the traction control still operates. Head on back in. Brakes work perfectly fine. No noise, no pulling. And really, this is a rough road. It's still handling the bumps pretty good. So I really would say you could just change the strut mount bolts. Got a nut in the top, nut on the bottom, one on the left, one on the right, and they'll be happier. It would be tighter. It's a little bit looser. That's the main thing that's worn. The struts aren't completely gone because it's not losing control or anything, and it's not shaking. It would make it more stable. Those stabilizer bolts will make a big difference. Like I say, they don't cost much. They just bolt on and off. Now you can see the short-term fuel trim is starting to come down already, and we only drove it a mile. It's down to 3.1, so I'm assuming a long-term fuel trim is going to come down too after you drive it a while. I'd give it 200 miles. So I gotta say that Pretty good scan tool for that price range. Does a bunch of stuff my real expensive one does for a lot less money. Sure, it's a little slower, but it's a pretty good machine for that price range. And as for the car, a great deal for the price range. You want a luxury car, and you don't want to pay luxury car prices. Don't buy a used Mercedes, BMW, Audi, or Porsche unless you want to bleed money out, right? He's had it for 2 years. He spent no money on repairs, and he spent a few $100 on oil changes and stuff. Try that with a BMW, Porsche, Audi, Mercedes. Make your husband. That's how they sold so many of these things. But they sold them with V6 engines like this, not Turbo 4. So Lexus, you're screwing up. Go back to your roots where you belong. But if you want to get a luxury car that's worth the money and is not going to have too much maintenance, hey, you couldn't go wrong. You could find a car like this. Too bad we can't all get in time machines, go back and buy one. There's still a bunch of them out there because they last so long. That's the thing. There's so many of them out there. They sold quite a few of them, and they last so long that even though this is in Rhode Island where they use pure salt on the road in the winters, it's still not rusted out. So take your time, look around. You want a luxury car? Don't waste your money on a new one. Get something like this. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.